going to be talking about this bad boy from Mecha Workshop's Armarauders. This figure I was actually interested in. And back in the day when I was really making lots of money and killing myself with all this overtime, I was buying tons of figures. And this was one that I dropped because of the price and pulled it out of my pre-orders and canceled it. But there was a bunch of others too that I decided to get rid of because there were some Soul Chigokins, I think, that came out, and some other figures that I really did want. And yeah, I kind of got rid of the two Diaclone big boys, which were like the $298 one and the one that was like $398. And I got rid of this because this was a company that just came out of nowhere. It was a brand new company, and what they showed really did wow me. And I was hoping to eventually get the figure. And I didn't think I was going to get the first edition, but believe it or not, it didn't do well. They still have them at Big Bad Toy Store. And they're going for only $139.99. So if you want one, go grab one. And it's the first edition, so you get all the extra stuff. The DVD. What is it here? I know there's more stuff in here. What is the stuff that they give you? They give you issue number 1 of the comic book, a content DVD, first run exclusives, clear head dome piece. They give you battalions, charge diorama, Tetsudo, mobile tank mech hanger. Okay, so you get all the stuff that's in here. But yeah, they kind of disappeared. Now, originally they had a big name that was doing the art. The first comic book was named Shadowfront, and then the last battalion, which was done by Don Figueroa, Dan Taylor, Valiant Wang, who did the story. The script was done by Dan Taylor. The art was done by Don, and the colors were done by Enrico Galli, and the lettering was done by Thomas Moorer. I probably butchered half of those names. Oh, wow. But, yeah, you go to the last post that was on the Armarauders Facebook page was 2018, right before the Chinese New Year, stating that they were going to come back after the Chinese New Year with all new stuff and really work hard and get it done. Mecha Workshop didn't have a Facebook, but they did have Twitter and one single tweet. And what was that tweet? Mecha Workshop. That was it. I'm serious. Look it up. Armarauders was pretty tweeting until I think like 2016, and then they stopped. I think their last tweet was like 2016. Now, if you go to either of the websites, they come up as a white page. Nothing. And what's sad is this is a pretty solid figure. And it seems like it's failed. Because, I mean, you're still able to get the darn figure at Big Bad Toy Stores. And you could probably get it anywhere else if you look hard enough. But it's a shame. So I grabbed it. And, but, there's so many toy companies that come out, try, just from the ground up, and they don't make it. Because it could be a lot of things. It could be the manufacturing, just everything. Like this poor guy. This poor guy got the crappy end of the stick. Now the guy, this is I don't forget it. I forget his name, but we'll just call him Jetfire, not Jetfire. This is the DACA Toys version. And yeah, going back to when I used to buy lots of figures, lots and lots and lots of mechs, robots, and everything. I had so many in that corner table area that I had before I put up a bunch of stuff. But I'm working on things. That's why I haven't opened a lot of my figures that I got this year. This thing, looked good at the prototype. Now, if you go back into my YouTube catalog and you find, I think, the first NJCC I went to, which was like 2013, the guy was there that prototyped this and that created this. And I think it was mainly the manufacturer that screwed this up. But there were problems with the engineering. There's hinges under here that are weird. They sent you grease, and I got the grease on my finger. The engineering was a little sloppy and a little bit too intricate that it wasn't properly tested. Then I had another issue with this. So I got my figure, and as usual, I put them on. I was putting them all over there, and I had about 12 or 14, maybe even more, boxes that were unopened. And I learned my lesson. Go watch my 40th anniversary Mazinger Z, Soul Chogokin Mazinger Z figure, DX Mazinger Z. Yeah, I didn't look at my figures, and this was an unheard thing. They forgot to pack his right foot armor. So I freaked because that was a $500 freaking figure. And you can't blame me for being a little bit upset and a little bit of crazy about it, but I'm going to put this guy down. So I didn't check my figures. And I didn't. I would just get the box and trust the company did the right thing and have put everything in right. But we're human and we all make mistakes. And luckily, Big Bad Toy Store stepped in and they got me the right foot armor piece, and all was good with the world. And I was happy. So I get to him. Not him, but Daka. Yeah. He's a parts former. And he comes with two intakes that you're supposed to slap on after you transform them. Yeah, it was missing one of the intakes. If I can get this off. They're stored there. And you can see one's missing. I have this one. I don't have this one. And I checked the box. But what was funny is in the box I found a screw. Just sitting in there. I searched everything of this figure, and I found all their screws. Now, what's going to be funny is I'm looking at them again, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to go, son of a brr. But it's a shame. But now, I mean, I just ordered Siege. You know, I pre-ordered Siege Jetfire, so that's coming. And I think he's just a little bit smaller than him, but toy companies have come and gone, and that's a shame because the guy really put his heart in it, and he did have, he had Optimus Prime heads, replacement heads. I think they were light up and stuff, but those things were beautiful looking. And he went with the big guy, and he tried to do it, and the prototype looked amazing, and it just didn't hit. And sadly, I think there were a lot of, he couldn't travel back and forth. I think he quit his job. Most likely he could quit his job and to try to do this because he loved Transformers and tried to make his own third party. And it just didn't, a lot of reviewers did not like this figure. And it was forgotten. And I mean, you can go on eBay right now and find like 5,000 of them, selling them for under what they paid for it. Me, on the other hand, probably won't because, well, that. The other issue that I had was his fingers are all articulated. They're small, but they're all articulated. Something was messed up with when they put the bar in for the fingers, the bar actually jumped up, ripped into the other one, and I had to literally perform surgery on his hand to pull out the bar, straighten it up, and reapply it in properly because two of the fingers were up, and one actually went into the plastic. It just went through the plastic. So whatever manufacturing company he picked really just did not give two shits, and that's a shame. But I'm still going to keep it. But if anybody has an extra intake piece, I can have it, please. I'll buy it. No, just kidding. I don't know. This is, if you're looking at it this way, it's the right one. I have the left one. I need the right one. But, I mean, the transformation wasn't that great. I never transformed him because, hearing all the QC problems with this poor guy. Not this guy, this guy. But all the QC problems that he was having, pieces weren't connecting or they weren't locking in and they were falling this and that. I just kept him as a figure because he's great looking as his Jetfire, as his figure, not in his robot form. I mean, in his robot form, not in his jet form, but he's hollow. He's really, really hollow. I can get my finger through this thing. You can probably see it. But, he was really hollow, but the guy tried some new techniques and stuff, and it didn't work. And a lot of the screws look like they're rusted. Like they've been, when they were screwing this thing in, they stripped some of the screws, it looks like. That's sad. Oops, I banged the thing. Yeah, that's sad. I mean, the guy really did put his all into it and probably spent so much money, and people pre-ordered it, and hopefully the guy made something out of it, or at least made the money back of what he put into it. But DACA doesn't even exist anymore, and it's a shame that the company like Mecha Workshop doesn't exist. So, I mean, we all have, there's all different toy companies that just come from nowhere, and some of them become successful. Look at Ori Toys and Acid Rain. What the heck? Where did that come from? And it hit that mark. So what was it that didn't make this hit its mark? This didn't hit its mark, So, I mean, it's sad, but the figure is really gorgeous. And again, I mean, I would love to do like a little kind of review thing, but I don't want to do reviews anymore. I kind of just want to show them off, talk about them, discuss them. I'm still kind of weeding out that whole entire thing of how I'm going to do this, because I'm trying to do a video podcast kind of thing, video/podcast. And you can watch it here, I'd love to do a version of it just as a podcast, but that's for another time and maybe down the future. But I don't hate the guy that created Deca, because I really did give him some nice compliments about the figure and everything, which again, he does look really cool, even though he doesn't have the jet backpack on him. But he did look cool in the display case when I had him in there, and I still keep him in there, but he's probably going to get replaced with Siege Jetfire when he comes. So. But maybe I might keep him. I might just keep him in there and put him in the back and put Siege Jetfire. I want to see what the size is, because one, I was not really too interested. Everybody's getting the FT version of Jetfire, not Jetfire, and I'm very picky on what I like. Take Omega Supreme. I don't like the Hasbro version. I don't like how the missile is like a thin, like this long. So I went with the Zhang Wei Omega Supreme, and I liked it because he's a little bit more streamlined. He's not as blocky as like the 80s. And if you're going for that 80s aesthetic, that's great. Go for that. That nobody's putting a gun to your head saying you got to pick this one or that one. But I like the more streamlined version of Omega Supreme. And I just like it because when you transform it, it has the biggest freaking track I've ever seen in my life. This thing is humongous. Like, I'm glad I have a huge basement, because I wouldn't be able to fit this on. I'd probably be able to fit it on my dining room table, but my wife would kill me. So I'm just going to keep it as is. But yeah, I mean, they were going to do all these accessories for Armarauders, for the Bellerophon, whatever it was called. I can't even say it. But it was supposed to have all these, every figure that, or every mech was supposedly going to be turned into a toy. They were going to do drones, which there was one drone, which I probably have up here. He was totally badass looking. And then he fits on the back, if I'm not mistaken. On the back is like a big jet pack for the mech. And then you had, they did a contest on what kind of hand weapon, what next hand weapon you would do. And I was, they showed that, and that looked badass. Then they showed this like armor that goes on top of it and on top of the mech, and it just looked like crazy. So there were a lot of different ideas that Mecha Workshop was going to do, and it just never happened. They just died. Like I said, their last post on Facebook was in 2018. And it was right before the Chinese New Year, saying that they were going to come back and they were going to have more information, and nothing. We're kind of like over a year now, and there's nothing. Hopefully, maybe they're just back reassessing themselves. Maybe they're just hard at work trying to put something out. But when you don't have any kind of talk, it's like talking with Sean Murray from No Man's Sky. He stays so silent now. It's like, what are we doing? And you just don't. They go in this total silent mode. So, I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Hopefully, maybe somebody that works for them or has worked for them knows a little bit more. But it's a shame because it's a solid figure. I can't wait until I get it out, put it in the display case, because I'm not opening my figures and having them all over my desk. I had it done once, and I just cleaned this all off. It was a nightmare. So, because I have lots of things going on over on the other side. Lots of things. And when I'm ready, you all will see it. And we will start doing things. But I'm still fleshing out things, so just give me some time here. Keep on watching, keep on liking, keep on subscribing, and I'll get it all fleshed out. And it's working. I'm just getting it working, just pulling at the bit, Little by little, it'll finally come together, and I'll get this thing, and like I said, I'm just taking all my ideas that I want to do with what I want the RobPod podcast to go. I'm putting it in here, and I'm just going with emotions, trying to add when I can. But I am going to be doing it once a week, guaranteed. I might be late, but I'm going to be doing it, and it's going to be once a week. So, in that aspect, I know this might be short. They're going to be long. Some of them are going to be short. Some are going to be whatever. But what do you think about toys companies that come, you buy it, it disappoints you, or it doesn't disappoint you and it just disappears? Because, again, it's a shame. Because, again, you can get this at Big Bad Toy Store. They don't sponsor me. I don't but I sponsor them because that's where I buy most of my toys. Big Bad Toy Store. Look up Armarauders. It's going for $139.99. Grab one while they still have them, because it's going to disappear. But, again, you're getting a whole bunch of extra stuff that doesn't come with the first edition, but they've never ran a second edition. So grab it while you can. You'll get a whole bunch of extra stuff. But yeah, this thing really went hardcore. They have a little stand for, the little pilot. They have the big stand for the, the main mech. And it's just kind of like, and then they were going to do all these accessories and put other mechs out, and it's just like, what? No. I think they just went too big for their britches. Being a first company, they wanted to make that, that mark, that like, boom, here we are. And people just went, great. And then they dropped the price, and people went, no. Because maybe it would have been better if they came out with like $100 figure first, and then let people just, see what they really, if it was for them, and if the quality was there and everything else, then they could have put out something like this at $319. I think they went too big too fast, and that's what I think has had them disappear all of a sudden. Maybe it just, I hate to say fail, but I think that their the whole line's dead. So it's a shame. I'm hoping, I still cross my fingers, but it's been so long now since this guy came out. I think this came out in 2015 or 16. I'm not sure. I never checked, and I should have. But that's all I got today. So I will see you all on the flip side, guys and gals, and be cool. Take it easy. I'll see you next week. Ooh, there's so much we can talk about, and we'll get to it. Don't worry. Adios, people. God damn it. Right when I hit the fucking button. Ugh. That's not what you want to do in the beginning. Today, we're going to be talking about this bad boy right over here. This is Mech Workshops. Hi, my name's Rob. I'm going to keep fucking up until it's like 5 in the morning. And then I'm going to be like, hey, I gotta go to bed. I should just do this tomorrow.